of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you all very much for coming. We do not have any reporter with us tonight, which is really too bad.
They're both on.
Well, yeah, but you'll see why I'm saying that in a second. Is there anybody here with a cell phone camera?
Yeah.
Really, could you take a picture? Because right now I'm going to introduce the mayor of Cornwall has come over. Justin Towndale, come on up front here. So I was going to see if the reporters were going to take a nice picture. So Jill, let's get over here and watch it. And let's go get a picture.
Good opportunity, there's anything we can do for the town.
Oh, isn't that nice? Very
Cornwall
nice.
Historic Walking Tour Club. Very proud of these.
Wow.
All the artwork is on my local artist, Peter. He's
Okay.
very talented.
Okay, good. All right, very good. Yeah, Justin extended an invitation to us a couple of weeks ago to have a chat. And again, being the mayor of Cornwall, I was excited because this hasn't happened before. So we had a nice conversation online, and then we invited him here for tonight. Would you care to share any of the latest things you're doing in Cornwall right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Bonsoir, Sego. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate the invitation to join you. And I'm glad to be the first. I hope I'm not the last.
Well, the Board of Community, it's great. I think it's wonderful.
I am wearing Maple Leaf cufflinks just for the
Oh, sounds good.
to represent the
Well, I got my little flag here too. You see
I
that?
don't have one of those.
Well, I'm in Rotary, international district. I do a lot of traveling over in Canada, a lot, so.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to come bring greetings on behalf of your neighbors in the city of Cornwall. You know, our city certainly seen a lot of change over the last few years, and we continue to grow, and that's good for everybody. You know, I wrote some things down because I didn't want to cause an international incident or anything, because there are a few points I did want to touch on.
That's fine.
And I can assure you, we received the same amount of snow that you did, so you know.
I was wondering about that.
We're still digging out. But, you know, just a little bit of history. So, I grew up in Cornwall. My father actually came to Canada via the United States. He actually went to Chicago Loyola University, got a degree there, and started working in Cornwall by virtue of chance. Realistically, he was looking to perhaps out in Chicago. So it's one of those things where you never know where you're going to end up. He came from India. But certainly where we are, I live in Riverdale neighborhood of Cornwall at the corner of Howard and 2nd, or at least that's the house I grew up in. My parents are still there. Every morning I wake up and I can see New York.
Sure.
Just out the window, you know. I mean, but that just shows how close we are. You know, down the street is the power dam, the hydro dam, which is shared by Ontario Power Generation and NIPA. You know, that's a kind of close connection we have here. And I'm saying this because I'm trying to illustrate that we are really a region in a sense, right? I made a comment last week to a reporter talking about the invisible line in the sand that divides us. And while that border is real, I see it as invisible. Like, you know, I came over, I had my passport on me to come over, but I don't feel the need to use it. I don't feel like I'm going to a foreign country. Especially in northern New York, we've seen it, this whole area. Listen, growing up, my Nintendo was bought at the St. Lawrence Mall. I used to spend a lot of time in the Nintendo store there playing on the little things. Some of you will remember that, right?
Yeah,
And then,
yeah.
you know, going to restaurants, I could list them, Violi's.
Oh, right. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Eber Steakhouse, Village Inn. I know some of these aren't in the town proper, but like these are like
They're very much a
areas-
favorite
Yeah.
of the Canadians.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
of course Trombino's, right? That's the one there.
Oh,
We
yeah.
get a bit of a reputation for going to those convenience, but all this to say, you know, we're neighbors, we're friends, we're allies, and I think it's important, you know, especially now that we stress that we communicate and reaching out, and you know, I feel like my term started 2 years ago. I probably should have done that sooner, so I do apologize. Maybe that's a stereotype. Canadians always saying we're sorry, but realistically, I do mean that. Historically, my predecessors have attempted to invite the town supervisor and the mayor of the village to the inauguration, but I didn't do that this time around. So that falls on me as a responsibility as the mayor, where we should have done that. And hopefully, going forward, we can fix that. You know, and improve upon that. And you know, speaking to the regional thing, any positive impacts in this region, any negative impacts, affect both of our communities very directly, economically, socially. The weather, right?
Right.
Still digging out from this. My crews have been working nonstop for the last almost a week now since the snow really hit us, and we're still not out of this yet. But you know, it's the same thing. You know, nationwide, Canada has always stood beside the United States as a friend. I can name off the Iran hostage crisis. Obviously, 9/11 being a big one, and I just want to point out that we had a Cornwall native, David Barkway, who was in one of the towers that morning for a meeting, and he was killed as a part of that attack. So, you know, it touched our community as well. We're not immune to these effects. We have a memorial in Cornwall to the events of 9/11 and David in particular. And I raise this just to show how close our communities are, how close our countries are, and events that happen in the United States affect us.
Of course.
Certainly, you know, our members from the Canadian Armed Forces joined U.S. forces in Afghanistan for the conflict there, including the regiment I serve in. I'm part of the primary.
You're a captain, right?
I'm a captain. I'm an infantry officer. I serve with the S&G Highlanders in Cornwall. And in Canada, part of our battle honors for our regiment is Afghanistan, which means we committed over 20% of our force on paper to the conflict. So we're very proud of that our small reserve unit, primary reserve unit, was able to contribute that many number of troops to the effort in Afghanistan. So, you know, I'm just highlighting some points here that I wanted to touch on to show how close we are and how we cooperate. And, you know, currently in Cornwall, the growth we're seeing, you know, it's remarkable what's coming in. I don't know if news has traveled here, but Grey Wolf Lodge is looking to do their first international investment in the city of Cornwall. There is one in Niagara Falls, but it is franchised. But this will be a corporate-owned facility, and we've been meeting with representatives. They're based in Chicago. We've been meeting with them on a regular basis. And that project should see shovels in the ground in a couple of years. There's still a few hurdles to get over, but that's a big thing, and that'll benefit this entire area. A lot more people will come through this area as a result. And it's just not for Cornwall. It's not just for the United Counties of SDNG. It's not just for Rouseauceny. That's for New York, Massena as well. And I truly mean that. So certainly, anecdotally, you know, I'm kind of all over the place here when I'm talking about, but there's a lot of points I want to touch on. But I'll share anecdotally. I went to the University of Toronto, and I had a lot of my classmates, my friends who were Americans who attended that school. And one in particular from California told me a funny story. I can't remember if it was his sister or his cousin attended SUNY, either Potsdam or Canton. I can't remember which campus.
One of two SUNY schools, so.
Yeah, and she decided to Google where the closest Starbucks was. And it was in Cornwall. And we have two now, we're getting two more, they're both under construction, so this is one of those things. But that's the thing, you know, those are for everybody, right? But that's just one small example. And I say this, you know, I'm kind of touching on really small points and the big points too, but I thought it was important to come over, and at the invitation of Sue, which I greatly appreciate. And I'm going to extend the invitation to you to come to one of our future council meetings as well.
I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely, and we'll have you present to us, and we have a tradition called the Golden Book. It's somewhat of a guest book that we have visiting dignitaries sign, so we will invite you to sign that as
Sure.
well. And look forward to continuing our partnership. And certainly, again, thank you for having me this evening and allowing me to take up some time as a fellow.
Thank you very much. Very well spoken. And we understand completely everything you said, for sure. Yeah.
And with that, thank you, merci.
Yeah. Je vous en prie.
No, merci.
Un peu de français. Thank you very much. Sit down, and if at any point you feel as though you need to leave, that's fine, but we'll kind of go through our agenda rather quickly, but you'll see how we do it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Okay. Dylan, you got a good picture for us?
Yes.
Okay. Jeff and Bob might want one. All right, let's go now down forward to our approval of minutes from the January 15th meeting.
Make a motion.
Pat,
Second.
Kristen, and all in favor. Aye. Three of us, right? Going to the resolutions. Authorizing the Massena Town Board to accept the lump sum consultant administrative services for a replace project at the airport. There's lots on the airport tonight, so get ready, folks.
Motion.
Pat, second? Okay, Kristen. Authorize the town board to accept the lump sum consulting agreement for administrative services for the purchase project, pickup truck, plow blade, and material spreader at the airport.
Motion.
Pat?
Report.
Okay,
Second.
and Kristen.
What was that one?
Number two,
I've got tractor and burn.
I have pickup truck, plow blade, and material spreader.
That one,
Oh,
that's a no. That's a no.
this one says tractor and green on
Yeah,
it.
I got
Okay,
tractor.
so, all right, give me a minute. Here we go. so this one says tractor and broom then for number 2. The motions were by Pat and Christie, and of course we all agree. Next one, 2025 Town of Massena sponsored agreement with Cajun Rods Tour of Cajun Custom Lures and Rods for the September 6th tournament.
Motion.
Christie,
Second.
second by Pat, and we all agree. Next, authorizing to review and sign a legal services agreement for Eric Gustafson for Two Rivers Solar Project.
Motion.
Pat,
Second.
and second by Christie. Okay, you agree. Next, authorizing the town board to review, approve, and sign the subsequent filing process permit application.
Motion.
Okay, that's Christie,
Second.
and a second by Pat, and we agree. Next, to accept the lump sum agreement for design of the rehabilitate taxiway A East E and G project after the airport.
Motion.
Okay, Pat, and second?
Second.
Okay, Christie, and we agree. Authorize the town board to review, approve, and sign the lump sum consultant agreement for design of the reconstruct hangar door project at the airport.
Motion.
Pat,
Second.
and Christie, and we agree. Authorizing the board again to review and accept the lump sum consultant agreement for design of the fence installation and improvements at the airport.
Motion.
Pat,
Second.
second by Christie, we agree. Authorizing the supervisor to sign the final application for the rehabilitate taxiway A East E and G design for the, again, the airport.
Motion.
Pat,
Second.
and Christie, and we agree. Authorizing the supervisor to sign the final application for the fence installation and improvements design for the airport.
Make the motion.
Pat,
And second.
Christie? Okay, we agree. Authorizing the supervisor to sign the final application for reconstruct hangar doors at the airport.
Motion.
Pat, and second,
Second.
and that's Christie, and we agree. Authorize the town board again, town council to approve the complete independent fee estimate from Pasero Associate for the taxiway A East E and G project. Airport.
Motion.
Pat, second,
Second.
Christie. And we agree. Okay, next, authorize the town board to approve the completed independent fee estimate for the fence installation and improvements.
Motion.
Pat,
Second.
Christie,
Too bad we couldn't have all this in.
and we agree. Not anymore, not according to FAA regulations, they want
Yeah.
everything separate. Approval to accept the change order number 1 and final for the airfield electrical improvements. And this will decrease the contract amount, which is, sounds good to me.
Motion.
Pat and
Second.
Christie, and we agree. Authorize the town board to approve the advertisement of the rehab terminal access road project.
Motion.
Pat
Second.
and Christie, and we agree. Transfers and amendments.
Go ahead, Christie.
Motion to accept transfer. And then
Christie made the motion,
I'll second it.
and Pat, and they're the both to the auditors for the month, so that works out.
Yep.
Okay, and the warrants,
I'll make the motion.
Pat first,
second.
and then Christie.
Aye.
Okay, we all set, Janine?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, turning over to Brenda Musa.
I don't have a bookkeeper's report.
Okay, and anything else you want to say tonight? Okay, let's go right to the committee reports, please. Town highway and then airport with Dylan.
For the highway department, we've plowed 18 times and performed winter maintenance on the plow equipment after each storm. We continue to dig out from the last snowstorm we got on Sunday and Monday. We are currently shoveling out fire hydrants. We've removed the snow from the Meadowview cul-de-sac 3 times. For equipment repairs, we replaced Unit 49's alternator and batteries and replaced Unit 51's oil pan. For the airport, boutique air numbers for January were 380 emplaned and 340 deplaned for 722 total. There was 174 landings and 2 canceled flights due to weather. Our ILS system on 523 is currently still down. They are up here. We are supposed to be doing the flyover tomorrow, as long as all goes as planned. They've plowed 19 times and performed winter maintenance afterwards. For the library, museum, and town hall, there are no new issues.
Good, okay. All right. And joint recreation.
Last month, Massena Arena had several skating competitions that were all very well attended. They've got ice times available for rent this month. You can call the arena or send a Facebook message if you want to rent the ice. They have a Learn to Skate program coming up the months of March and April, and as well as the Spring Hills Hockey League coming up March through April. And they've had sponsored open skates this week while the kids are on vacation. And currently, the outdoor rinks are temporarily closed until they get snow removed.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. All right, thank you, Kristen. Town library.
Yes, I attended the town library meeting February 11th.
Okay.
And I'm not going to go through everything that's on this list, because it's extensive. Just if you have anything specific you guys might want to mention. But the fact is, they're doing a lot of grant writing for a lot of different projects. We got updates on the funding that was received, the board that was put up in the library. I think Sue saw that board.
Yeah, I did see it, very nice. Yeah.
It's very nice. We reviewed financial reports, the usage reports, the usage is up. Financial reports are good, social media reports are up, everything seems to be up. There was additional members for the planning committee. I had made a mention at the meeting that we went to.
So that's been
And
decided?
we got three new people for that committee to help them out in regards to that. If I say something wrong, you guys correct me.
I got notes, don't worry.
They changed and approved the petty cash policy. The old one was old and needed to be fixed, so that was passed. A Friends report, there's about 70 people in the Friends Library that help out and do specific things. I'm learning as we go. It's my second meeting. Like I said, there was a lot of grant activity for a lot of different projects. And there's a whole report and a whole puzzle of things that she actually puts out in a report to the community. You can go and see.
It's good to see that packet, really.
Yeah, it's a nice packet with a lot.
And then you get to see the art show. I always enjoy going to the art show.
Oh.
Very nice. That's still going on, but you can see what's on display.
Still on, yeah.
We should take a moment to go over and appreciate the artwork that people do in our community from the high school and locally. It's very, very nice. And again, that display board, how much money was brought in around total for the donors for that fundraiser to help out your books and periodicals?
Oh, I actually don't have the figures for it right now, but it was over $15,000 for that particular campaign.
Good.
And it was very successful. We're looking forward to doing it again this year.
Good, good. And a great display.
Wasn't it beautiful?
Very creative.
Yes, I
And there was
loved it.
another thing that you had done too that I thought was very impressive. It was near the children's library, and that was basically for Valentine's Day. You want to explain to that?
If you'd like me to go, I've got some stuff to talk
Go
about.
for it.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right, so what Sue's talking about, I was so excited to show her when she stopped by. Lexi, our youth services specialist, came up with a great idea for Valentine's Day. So for the 2 weeks leading up to Valentine's Day, we did an Adopt a Book program. Or, I'm sorry, that's a different program. Blind Date with a Book. And what she did was she took books from our book sale, wrapped them up beautifully with Valentine's Day paper, stuck candy and bookmarks and little goodies in them, little tea bags and things like that, and then put the genre and age group on the book, and we sold them for $5 a piece, and it just exploded. It far exceeded expectations. Everybody loved it. It was adorable. And we raised about $755 from it just in 2 weeks of selling books at $5 a pop. It was really good. She's just really flourishing in her
It was
position.
very, very creative. I really
Very
enjoyed how you
creative.
had it all on display. It was very, you wanted to take a look at it.
Yes.
You had to get.
Yes, and it really intrigued people, and they loved it. And I I'm going to take this opportunity once again to thank the town for helping me get her full-time, because she is just invaluable. She really is, and this shows it. To expound on what Pat was saying about the grants, I've been writing and applying for several grants to fund different programs at the library. I received a $6,736 grant from Air Products of Greater Massena for a memory cafe. If you're not familiar with the concept, it's a really cool idea where people experiencing cognitive difficulties, memory loss, dementia can gather together almost like a support group. They and their caretakers. We are purchasing activity kits specifically designed for people dealing with memory issues, and books that are specifically designed for them, as well as coffee, because when I learned about this concept of memory cafes, I was told the only thing you really need is people and coffee. So we're getting coffee, we're getting books and activities for them to do. We've got a community member who has volunteered to help with it, and it's going to be a really healthy and welcoming program for people who have loved ones who are dealing with memory issues and people who are experiencing memory issues. And it is frankly a very difficult situation for a lot of people, and I really look forward to the library being there to support them, and I am so grateful to Air Products for supporting us in that. We also received a $2,900 grant from the Northern New York Library Network Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Grant, and that was to support buying new materials from Native and Indigenous authors, and also bringing in presenters from Akwesasne to talk about Mohawk culture and history. So I'm really excited about that one as well. And the other one that I have feedback on right now, I've been in contact with the St. Lawrence County Planning Office, who has applied on our behalf for a grant with New York State to install a transit shelter at the library. There's already a couple here in town, specifically one on Beach Street by the community center, and now there will be one also at the library because we are also a bus stop in town. So I'm pretty excited about that one too. I did mention the Adopt a Book program. That's something we just instituted this month. It is a way, as some of you know, I'm sure, our materials budget is a little low this month, and we are supplementing that by asking patrons to sponsor some of the really popular titles, and it's gone really well this month. 28 books have been sponsored so far, totaling about $545, which is, they're books that we would have had to buy anyway, but in this way the community helps us buy them so that we can maintain that small budget that we have and spread it out elsewhere.
Now, do you have a list of those books like that you want to get?
Yep, we make a list every month of the books that are being released the next month, and people can choose from that list what they'd like to sponsor.
Now, are those going to be in your newsletter? Maybe I missed that?
Well, we announce it in our newsletter, but we have it posted on our website, and we have a list available at the front desk.
Okay, so
Yes.
see the website or the front desk?
Yes, so, and the benefit of that, just to sweeten the deal, if you'd like to adopt a book, you get it at a lower price than you would buy it in the store. We only charge $20 for an adult book, $15 for a children's book, because we do get it at a discount as a library. And when you adopt it, you can choose to put a book plate in it saying any kind of dedication you'd like, and you are the first one to check it out and read it.
That's
So
really good.
it comes in, we process it, it goes right to you, and when you're done, it comes back and we share it with the community. It's a really great program. We're very excited about it. And Pat also mentioned the planning committee. I'm going to jump on his statement there just to put a plug in for the planning committee. We are looking for community members to join us. We had our first meeting last week, but we're having another meeting on March 5th, and we would love the community's input. We're putting together our long-range plan, and we'd like everybody to be involved in helping us do that.
When does that committee normally meet?
We're meeting once a month, I believe.
Daytime or nighttime or?
Nighttime. we are trying to make it accessible to working people.
Okay.
So I believe we're starting around 5:15.
Okay, and how long does it normally go, Krista?
About an hour. We're trying to keep it as concise as possible because everybody's very busy, especially in the evening.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's all I have.
Okay,
Right,
that's
there
great.
was two other items, action items, the conflicts of interest form was approved and the ethics form was reviewed and approved again. So those are a couple of required updates and they were done.
Great, okay, very good.
Oh, I would also like to invite everybody, next Wednesday, the 26th at 6 p.m. We have local author Stephen Mundy coming for an author visit. He will be selling his books, signing his books, talking about his book, which is titled Take a Decade. He is a former financial advisor who decided he was going to take a break and travel around Europe and the United States, and he writes all about his experiences doing so in his book. And he will be at the library next Wednesday night to talk about it.
Okay,
Thank you.
that sounds good. Thank you very much, Krista.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Pat. Okay, town museum, please?
The town museum meeting this month was canceled because we had a huge snowstorm that Thursday, so they've just pushed it back to next month.
Okay. And Chamber of Commerce, I've got something short and sweet here. St. Louis County Chamber of Business has scheduled another business after hours for May 27th at the Gristmill Brewery, in addition to your tourism dinner, which is going to be on June 4th, with speaker Hosea Brown on the topic tourism at home. Okay, and again, take a look at their own website as well to keep up what the chamber is doing for us. Code Officer Pat, is he still here?
Just,
Oh, here he is, okay.
just a couple things. The first is the permit revision. So if you remember, I believe December meeting, I mentioned that right now we have a roofing permit, a siding permit, a pool permit, a commercial building permit, a residential building, the list goes on. So I worked with the Department of State and Oneida and Chemung County is who they sent me to. Most counties right now that do code enforcement countywide operate on a consolidated permit. So it's a single permit, various sections, and it applies to everything. So when somebody comes into the town clerk's office, they're gonna grab one single document, or when they go to the website or to our online portal, there's gonna be one document for them to fill out. The one building permit will cover pretty much everything, commercial, residential, and then there's a couple permits we will maintain because they're kind of out of the scope of what a building permit does, like a burn permit. So that's almost complete, ready for review. Right now, we're down to 4 code complaints, which is like a record low, and 3 of them are held over until the spring, once we get rid of snow. The 4th is a new one, and it involves the St. Lawrence Center Mall, so they were issued an order to remedy a week or 2 ago. Basically, we conducted a fire inspection there, summer 2024, numerous fire code violations were noted. We worked with the owners, tried to give them a little bit more time to address the issues, but at a certain point, we just can't let the building burn down. And they have failed to address any of the issues, so they've now been sent an order to comply. They have until March 15th to either fix everything, which it is a hefty list, which is why we gave them 6 prior months to fix it. And so they either have to comply in 30 days or they have to issue or submit to us a compliance plan to show in a reasonable time frame how they're gonna bring everything up to code. There were so many that I just wrote building-wide violations because I stopped counting at inoperative fire doors when I got to 20. Same with emergency lights, exit signs, alarm system, extinguishers. So they received building-wide violations for everything, basically.
And it's a new owner that apparently received all this information.
Yeah, so it's the same company that owns it, but the head of the company has changed. So we're working with them and Brooks Washburn is kind of like their point person for a lot of their plans and things like that. So they're working to address it.
Okay.
And luckily, they want something from us, which is a certificate of occupancy for the new sections of the mall. So that typically gives people a little bit of motivation to correct issues, when there's something that they need to use. And that's it.
Okay. Keep at it, thank you very much. Town planning and zoning.
It was canceled last month. We meet tomorrow night, 5 o'clock.
All right, I sure you've got a good agenda for tomorrow night, huh?
We have some.
Okay.
There,
Right,
we have plenty.
okay. Ms. Electric, please.
Yeah, January 21st, I thought I left my report at home, but I found it. January 21st, we met, it continues the same kind of issues. The safety has been very good. We continue to 937 days since our last lost time incident, and 194 days without anybody actually being hurt and having to take some time off in regards to that. Work schedules continues to be good. The write-offs were about $1,938, 14 accounts. Continues to fit into the ball. It's still fairly low percentage number of the total revenues that are generated. Power comparison graphs and stuff, we're looking still with customer, customer impact is low, continues to be low, and continues to be a year-long average, very low. So there haven't been a lot of outages and other things, and just seven issues associated with closing. Now, the biggest thing that really we've talked about is the fact that everybody is going to experience in their electric bills, the fact that the whole countrywide has been so needy of more and more electricity that the cost that we have to buy out is expensive. And I got my own bill, and I know that it's substantially higher than what it's been, and it will be higher for the next month and maybe higher for the next month too. So there's a list of all the items that I think they were going to put together so that it makes it easier for them to call Sue and say, I'm complaining about my electric bill. These are the real issues. The issues are that there's a lot of usage, there's been a lot cold weather this year, and there's been a lot of usage of basically continued ongoing having to purchase because it goes above and beyond what we normally use. Eric, is that pretty much on that?
Yeah, so I think it's worth noting, especially for the board members here, because I know you're gonna get questions about it. You know, MED, for the price of electricity that they send to the customers, it's a pass-through. So everything above the night allocation that MED has to purchase is just a straight pass-through. So it's not MED's increasing the cost of electricity, it's the cost of electricity that MED purchased is higher because of the weather conditions, and a lot more people are using it.
Yeah, I've had a number of calls, and I referred them over to Andy
Yep.
McMahon, and he's got back to those people.
Yep.
And anything that's been a voice complaint, I just forward on to town council so they can also hear it. We can all share, yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's an unfortunate price signal that we all get during this time of year to try to use a little less electricity, because it makes it more expensive for all.
Yeah, for sure.
And they give us the December financial report, came out pretty good in regards to profitability. There's not a lot of profit, but it was also right on budget. So it was within a percentage or two of the budget. And it's basically a lot of the things that stand out, like Eric said, is when they come out and we have to buy stuff out, it's a pass-through. So it passes through on to the public. And that's why revenues are sometimes down, but expenses are down if you have a good month of non-usage. So it doesn't flow profitability that way, it flows pass-through, so it matches. And I don't think I have anything else to report. Eric, anything else that brings your opinion on?
So the one other thing that Pat mentioned that I think is worth highlighting here is MED's reliability numbers. You know, their delivery of electricity to customers is some of the best in the nation. They're well within the top quartile of the entire nation in terms of reliability. You know, when we need to turn the lights on, they're there.
Right.
And so that's just a nice thing to highlight. They do a great job of keeping the lights on.
Yeah, and again, we get those results from National Grid, and when I meet with the supervisors next Tuesday, and we're gonna have a person from National Grid speaking. Of course, that involves really everybody else except Massena,
Right?
so it'd be good to hear all that, and see how that goes.
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
ask
From
them
an
to compare
accounting-
their reliability numbers to MED's.
Yeah.
From an accounting perspective, what I really like is the fact that they're able to put some money aside to buy new equipment when they need it. They keep a funded depreciation file. And that's a nice thing to have so that you don't have to spend all your budget on replacing something when you've actually put money aside to buy it.
That's sweet, that's the end of it, yeah. Okay, Don Meisner, please.
This is a really, really busy time for what we plan all year. Our sports shows have taken almost a new phase. And the thing I wanted to tell you about that is we've been working closely with a number of businesses in this town to help us to put a better presentation for people that are going to these sports shows to understand what they have when they come here. And we met with folks, with Alyssa, Nadine, and Dylan at the airport, and boy, I'll tell you what, they've been so helpful in helping us come up with ideas that would make it a more attractive trip for people to come from Boston to come here. And at the last sports show, we had a number of people, and I can't tell you the number, but more than a handful of people, different folks that came in, and they said, oh, we had no idea that you had an airport. And finding 6 hours to drive there for a weekend or for a week and drive back, and especially with people that get older, it's a bit more difficult to travel. But their statement was, oh my gosh, if we could fly there in an hour and fly back, we wouldn't have to take that trip. And it really, it highlights what we have to offer here, and it's a huge step. And one of the things, and I mentioned this before to all of you, that when we're doing sports shows like this, our main goal is to get people in where we can talk to them about what this experience coming here is about. And so, again, the folks at the airport, they put together a number of bags, and Linda's gonna be able to show you them. But when people come in, they're gonna go to all kinds of other booths, and if they have something that they're carrying that they'll wanna keep that reminds them of Massena, is a huge thing. And the bags that they put together for us are better than any bags I've ever seen. And people, when they look at them, they say, how much is this? You know, are you giving us this? And it's just an example. There's another new shop in Massena, an art store. And Robert Gerard is the person that has that store. And we went to him because we have photographs of the type of fish and experiences people have here that we have always shown, and we'll put them on our tables, and people come up and look at them. We thought that if we had them displayed in a really professional and great way, that it would further complement the booth that we have. He worked so hard to put this together, and it's one of the best highlights I've ever seen that we have. My point is that different people in this town, when we went out and met with Amy Stark, there was nothing. They had nothing there to highlight the tremendous place that they have now for people to come. And so we put together a poster and rag cards so that we would have them to highlight, because that's what we're doing. We're trying to highlight the things people can experience here. And one final thing I do want to say is I hadn't been gone from Massachusetts one day, and I get a call on my phone, and it's a guy who says, he identified himself. He said, I heard there were people in Massachusetts that said that you had something to do with the tournaments coming to Massena. And I said, yeah. Now, he wouldn't have got this if we hadn't been doing the sports shows over there. He said, well, we have a number of properties that we would like to make available for fishermen and their families coming to Massena this coming year. And I said, well, that's fantastic. As a result, he has 3 tiny homes. He's got an Airbnb that is 3,500 square feet or something like that. He's got their own personal home, and he says, if we rent out all these places, I've got another number of other friends in the area that have homes that would want to make this available for your tournaments. And what it shows is that all these pieces that we're working on, the tournaments in the summer, the sports shows in the winter, they're all part of a cycle that's coming together, and it's really augmenting what we have to offer, and so I'm thrilled to pass that on. We leave tomorrow for another show, and so we'll continue doing what we're doing.
Okay, all right, thank you very much, Don. Linda?
Okay, I had 3 items in my report that I circulated to the board earlier. One had to do with the Market New York grant, the second grant, and in fact, that's going to be closed out this month. We'll have the last of the 5 videos ready for review by Market New York, and then those will be available for release to the website and the board members, and they'll be available for anyone who wants wants to see them, and certainly also available for use at the sport shows, which was the primary reason that we had these filmed initially. Brenda and I, we're both working on the paperwork for the closeout of that Market New York grant. Brenda she's currently pulling the invoices, and I have the various forms. I'll have those prepared, and we can then submit that for the reimbursement, and I'll also have a report ready to go with that. The other item that I'd mentioned in my report had to do with the town highway garage, and still, that is a work in progress. We have a number of support documents that we're working on, and I'll be double checking budget figures with, I think it was CNS Engineering firm that had provided the initial estimate for that garage. It may have changed slightly given the time frame from the specs and the drawings, so we'll continue to work on that. But so that everyone can see this is the bag that Don mentioned that Boutique Air provided. This was a really popular item at the sports show. What was really intriguing was that folks didn't know that they could fly into Massena. They didn't know how inexpensive these flights are. And in addition to that, when I submitted the report, the supplemental report to Don's report, covering the first sports show, I mentioned specifically that we encountered, I'll just show folks this, we encountered Angling Ireland, which is a government-run program encouraging tourism across the entire country of Ireland, excuse me. And in their bag, they had a number of items really nicely produced. So this is something that's really very, very well done, but it demonstrates the power of tourism from an economic level and how important that is to grow an economy. So just thought I'd bring that back for folks to know. So that's everything I have.
Okay, thank you very much. Before we go to executive session, is there anybody else who wanted to share something at this time? No? So we need a motion to go to executive session. And the reasons being, discussions related to proposed pending or current litigation, medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or relating to appointment, promotion, demotion, discipline, or removal, and acquisition, lease, or sale of real property or securities when publicity would substantially affect the value. And you need a motion for that?
A motion.
Okay, Christie, and a second with Pat to go to executive session. 5:13. And Mayor Towndale, I'd like you to meet our town attorney here before you leave, okay? Thank you all very much for coming.